Did you know that the Bible in 40K was actually written by the devil? I know it sounds ridiculous, but just bear with me. It's well established that most people view the Emperor of Mankind as a literal god, despite the fact that while he was alive, he was a staunch atheist, and condemned all forms of worship. One of the first to claim the Emperor's divinity was his son Logar, and despite his father's objections, he did this openly. He actually penned a book known as the Lectitio Divinitatis, in which he proclaimed the Emperor's godhood, and said that he was the rightful master of mankind. Copies of this book spread in secret during the Great Crusade, and secretive cults dedicated to the worship of the Emperor started popping up all over the place. Since worship of this kind was illegal, meetings of these cults would take place in secret, in bars and back alleys, and even the boiler rooms of ships. Realizing the damage that Logar was doing, the Emperor had finally had enough. He reprimanded Logar and his legion by forcing them to kneel before him and watch as him and the Ultramarines burned his prized city to the ground. This city had been completely dedicated to the worship of the Emperor, so the symbolism of the Emperor crushing a monument to his worship was obvious, and that he was done with this nonsense. To say that Logar was crushed by this is a massive understatement, because not only his father, but his god had rejected him. Eventually, Logar and his wordbearers set out on a great pilgrimage to find other godlike beings that were truly worthy of their devotion. What they inevitably found was the primordial truth of the universe, the Chaos Gods, beings of unquestionable divinity that rivaled even the Emperor. And Logar realized that the Emperor had lied. He had claimed there were no gods, and that mankind should put their faith in science. But these gods said they knew the Emperor, and he was familiar with them. Logar and the wordbearers dedicated themselves to these entities, and the path they had set themselves on would eventually lead to the Horus Heresy. Eventually, Logar wrote a second book, this one being known as the Book of Logar, in which he renounced his faith in the Emperor and claimed the Chaos Gods were the true masters of the universe. And these writings were completely deranged, as Logar had already begun his descent into insanity. Fun fact, the book was actually bound in the skins of those killed at the drop site massacre. Despite this, his original manuscript continued to spread through the Imperium. And over the next 10,000 years, it would become the fundamental holy book of mankind. And the original author of this text is a well-guarded secret. Only a few, if any, actually know its true origins. Gilliman, for example, is well aware of this. But revealing such blasphemy would lead to another civil war. So although Logar is not literally the devil, the symbolism of a fallen angel learning the truth of the universe and renouncing his faith in God, only for his original views to completely dominate mankind, is one of the greatest ironies in the 40K universe.